Hey guys, Sarah Redfield here with Dirtastic. Today I'm going to be showing you how to remove your rear wheel and then reinstall your rear wheel on your dirt bike. Pretty much all you need is a socket wrench with the appropriate size socket for your axle nut and a rag. Pretty easy stuff. So let's get to it. So the first thing that we need to do in order to remove the rear wheel is to place the bike on a stand. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to manually spread the brake pads by pushing on the brake caliper with my knee here. You want to make sure that you do not push the brake caliper so far that it hits the spokes. Now I'm going to take my socket wrench and remove the axle nut. The next step is to remove this chain adjuster, slide the wheel spindle in that direction far enough so that I can push the rear wheel forward. Just like that. Now that the wheel is pushed forward, I can take the chain off of the sprocket. And now you are ready to remove the rear wheel. Hold onto the wheel up at the top, pull the spindle, and out she comes. Easy stuff. Before reinstalling your rear wheel, you're going to want to clean your brake disc just to make sure that you don't have any residual oil on it from any work that you were doing. A can of brake cleaner and paper towels is all you need for that. I always clean and grease my wheel spindle before reinstallation, clean the axle nut, clean the chain adjuster, as well as any area that this wheel spindle passes through. I try to get the threads as clean as possible. I also put a little grease on the threads. This makes it much easier to remove the axle nut and the wheel spindle later, especially if it's been sitting for a while. Now we're ready to put the wheel back onto the bike. Make sure to line up the brake caliper and the brake rotor. Grab your wheel spindle, lift the rear wheel up. I like to use my foot to support it. Insert the wheel spindle. You're ready for the next step. Next, with the wheel spindle still partially out and the wheel pushed forward, we put the chain back on the sprocket. At this point, we can pull the wheel back, fully push the spindle through, grab your chain adjuster, put it on the other side, and there you go. The next thing you do, you take your axle nut, loosely tighten it onto your wheel spindle, just hand tight. And then in order to make sure that the chain adjuster is up against the adjusting screws on both sides firmly, take a rag, insert it between your chain and sprocket, roll the wheel back, hold it tight, take your socket wrench, and tighten your axle nut all the way. And finally, to finish this project off, pump up your rear brake. Now you're ready to ride. And just a few closing remarks. Most manufacturers do recommend that you torque your axle nut. For this Husqvarna, the torque spec is 80 Newton meters. You need a pretty large torque wrench to get it to that torque spec. If you don't have a torque wrench, or if you don't have one that goes up to the proper spec, you can hand tighten it like I did with a socket wrench. Usually I will tighten it enough to where the suspension compresses as I'm tightening the nut, and that usually seems to do the job. Happy wrenching, and see you out on the trails.